Have you ever, this is probably very dangerous, just on my knee. Have you ever bought a book, taken it home, put it on the bookshelf, and then forgotten about it for 2 years? Or started a project and then started it again, and then started it again, and just like not done anything with it because it isn't perfect? And you're just kind of waiting for it to be perfect. I definitely have done both of those things, and I kind of think maybe they might be more similar than we think. Anyway, so this is one of my projects, the 1111, and I started it back in April of 2025, and we have just tiptoed into 2026. And I think I'm really just starting it now, although I recorded loads of videos before, and they may get published. They may or may not get published. But I was like, they won't ever get published if I'm waiting for them to be perfect. And actually, perfection is not the point. It's really a practice of speaking freehand, freestyle to the camera for 11 minutes and 11 seconds on any given topic. Not given to me by me. Maybe one day by you. I don't know. It depends if you want to ask me to talk about anything. But right now, it's by me. And I will learn to speak. This is part of the experiment. In true tradition, for the first day of the year, which is when I'm speaking, I am going to make bold claims. I am going to say, let's. Let us commit to one video a day. I'd like it to be for a year, but let's start bite-sized, shall we? Let's start with 30 days. Let's start with the month of January. I can't remember how many days it has in it, whether it's 30 or 31. And it doesn't matter right now for the purpose of this video. But we'll do the month of January. Some people do dry January, and I am doing this. Overexposure January. I like to think of it as a video journal, or like the morning pages on video, stream of conscious. We might know where we're starting, but we never know where we're ending. And what am I going to learn from this? I don't know. I might learn some stuff about YouTube. I'll certainly learn some stuff about speaking to camera without a script, and trying to complete sentences without messing them up. Might get better at that. And understanding my thoughts and my thought processes. Because, I don't know about you, but I sometimes really struggle to complete a thought sentence in a concise, coherent way. And I'd like to be better at that. I really would. I think it's a skill. I'm an actor, so I'm used to being given lines to say, and I will say them. But just riffing is in and of itself a skill. And so we're starting today this project that actually started April last year. So we're going to try and do 30 days. And if you're on this journey with me, thank you. And I will try not to miss a day. But know this, I do have some videos in reserve. So if for some reason I have to miss a recording day, I may pull into one of those. I'll say what it is. I'll say that it's an old one from the archives, and I'll publish that instead. I'll have one in my pocket. What has this got to do with books? buying a book and putting it on your bookshelf, nothing really. I just wanted to talk about this book as well. Because, or maybe it does, I don't know. I bought this book about 2 years ago when I was still working as a bookseller in Waterstones, and I was just buying way too many books. And like most of them, they just came home and they went straight onto my shelf. And they looked real nice there. And then a couple of days ago, I was watching something on YouTube. I'll probably put the video on the screen. And it was the content creator was talking about how this 87-year-old author had gone at Elon Musk and had really irritated him. And the author in question was Joyce Carol Oates. And I'm like, that name sounds so familiar. I'm sure I've got one of Joyce Carol Oates' books on my bookcase downstairs that I haven't read. So I read the tweets. I read this. I watched the video. I didn't actually read the tweets at all. I watched the video in which she talked about the tweets. And then I was like, yeah, okay. This feels like a good time to pick up that book. And I'm so glad that I did. It's lovely. I'm struggling with reading at the moment, like finishing books, attention span, doom scrolling. So this is perfect. It's called Night Gaunts and Other Tales of Suspense. And why... I love the cover. I absolutely love the cover. But also, it's short stories, so it's bite-sized. It's like very low commitment, easy way in. And I've only read one of these so far. I read it this morning. See if this cup will balance on my knee. The story that I read was The Woman in the Window, which, I mean, was gorgeous. The blurb on the back actually talks about it. A woman, naked except for her high-heeled shoes, waits in an apartment she cannot afford as her married lover rushes, amorously, murderously, to her door. Yeah, it lives up to the blurb and more. And also just like the murderous contempt that two people in a relationship can end up having for one another, or a situationship perhaps. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that. It's just delicious. It's utterly delicious. And at the end, this is definitely not a spoiler because it's not part of the story, but at the end it just says Edward Hopper, 11 a.m. 1926. And I was like, oh, this whole short story has been inspired by a piece of art, a painting by Edward Hopper called 11 a.m. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that genius? And, if you're ever feeling creatively stumped, I think that's what a lovely exercise to just like look at a picture or a painting or a piece of art and just think, what's the story around this? Just like make it up, make something up. And that's not stealing, that's being inspired. It's breathing. So I want to lean into that energy. I think we should all lean into that energy. Like, how beautiful. Like, imagine if you could just like, I don't know, you don't even have to go anywhere. It's cold outside if you're in cold parts of the world like I am. You don't have to go anywhere. Well, you could pop to a museum, but you could also just like, I don't want to suggest doom scrolling, I really don't, but you could maybe flick through some books and find some pictures or magazines or, I don't know, and then make up a story about it. I love that. Or somebody else I heard talking about putting on a record, an album, listening to it from start to finish and drawing at the same time or journaling at the same time. It's like letting art influence art, letting creativity influence creativity. It's like such a nice way to ignite something if you're in a slump, and I'm often in a slump, and so I'm trying, like probably so many of us are trying, to be a little bit less digital. I know, the irony. But, to read a book that's a book and that's not on an e-reader. I do have an e-reader and I love it. Or to paint, even though I can't, and I'm not an artist. But what is can't? I am an artist. We are all artists. We are all creative. And I think the beginning of a year is kind of a nice way to, it's a nice time to play. And winter is a lovely time, like hibernating, to kind of, to do these crafty kind of things. It's been 11/11, delightful.